cloud. Awesome. Good morning from the East Coast and welcome to Coffee with a Mega. Wherever you're watching this, whether it's live on our Zoom stream, live on Facebook, or on YouTube later on in the recording. Really excited to welcome you to Coffee with a Mega. This is a monthly interview series that we host through Keller Williams Young Professionals out of our local chapter here in the Raleigh-Durham metro in the capital area of North Carolina. My name is Patrick Madigan. I am actually, as of today, excited to announce I'm now the president of our chapter. I've been serving on the leadership team. Yeah, thanks. I'm excited about that. Just had a leadership meeting yesterday and been involved for a few years. If you've been around me at all for a while, you know my story that I was in real estate about 5 years, thinking of I was burning out, hitting a rut, hitting a wall, thinking of leaving Keller Williams, going independent. And then I found the Young Professionals Network within our company. Keller Williams Realty International is the biggest agency in the world in terms of agents, incredibly successful. And at times it can feel easy to get lost in a community like that. I joined YP Young Professionals, and it is elevating my business, but more importantly, my life, my fatherhood, my husbandry, my life as a person and as the man that I want to be and always wanted to be. I'm getting closer and closer the more I hang out with these kind of people. So it's my privilege every month to host people like Megan and Kaleo who are living big businesses and even bigger lives, and just to share the wealth, share the gratitude. And if you get one little nugget out of this, whether you're live or you're watching this on YouTube like 98 years later, I hope that it adds something to your life. And we're excited to hear from Kaleo and Megan. So 2 quick announcements before we do that. Kaleo and Megan are out of the Hampton Roads area, and there is a new Young Professionals chapter launching there February 2nd through the 4th, right, Kaleo? Megan? Yes. I'm going to try to be there if I can. If you don't know yet, one of the cool things about being involved in Young Professionals is traveling to these events. Not only the big events like Family Reunion in a few weeks after that, go to that. But these chapter launches are an intimate way to get to know people that are local, and you never know who you might meet that might send you a referral down the road. And so Hampton Roads is a huge metro area. There's a lot of military there. If you're able to get in, I would encourage you to go. And at Family Reunion, second announcement is we will be doing our annual presentation of the KWYP Awards, and Kaleo is on the list. So Emily will drop the link where if you're a YP member, you can go vote for the 6 different categories. It's like Rookie of the Year, Chapter of the Year. So our Triangle chapter is nominated out of the 6 or 7 there. So we're excited about that. Go vote for the people that just mean a lot to you in your journey in business and in life. So Kaleo is one of those people you can vote for. Aside from that, we're going to get started today. Kaleo, Megan, do you guys have any questions before I introduce you?
No, we're excited. Let's go.
Awesome. So I'm going to read a quick bio of them. So that way it'll kind of hit some of the main points and then we'll dig into the questions. So Megan has been in real estate since 2014 and was the founder of CoVA Collective in 2017. She's been a consistent top producer and was in her market center closing over 50 units a year and a high of 92 units, which is crazy. Kaleo entered the industry in 2017 and was recognized as a rising star. And then he built his own small team. And I think Kaleo was also right at 100 units with his small team before they merged. And so these are 2 rock stars who arguably were doing way more business than many teams were. And they decided to set aside their egos and form something collective and to join. And so we're going to hear a lot about that today, which I'm excited about.
And just for clarity there, Megan was personally closing that many units. She had one agent and an admin. They were closing 130 units year over year for like 3 to 4 years, just them 3, like an admin and an agent. Yeah.
Amazing.
She's a monster. That's what the M in Megan stands for.
So these are so it's Coffee with a Monster, not Coffee with a Mega. Got it. Understood. So these 2 monsters decided to combine. Kaleo also comes from a background in the Naval Academy from playing basketball, being a Pacific Islander and living in Arizona. So we're going to dig into a lot of stuff here. Encourage you guys at any time to use the hand raise icon or drop your questions in the chat. And I'm going to let people into the waiting room that have been waiting patiently. Excuse me, Emily, you are now the co-host. So that way I can pay attention to this and you can let people into the waiting room. And also feel free, if you're jumping in the chat, drop your name and your location in the chat here so we can know where people are and who's tuning in this morning. Feel free to copy the link or the Instagram, Facebook. We kind of make these easy to find and put it on your story, take a screenshot, put it on your Instagram right now to bring more people into it. So with that said, we're going to dig into it. We're going to start from the beginning. Tell me what it was like. Megan, I want to hear from you first. What was it like to get into real estate? I know you weren't born into it. You didn't do it immediately out of college. What was that journey like? How did you find yourself in this crazy industry that we're all in?
So yes, I actually was in marketing before, and we actually had a family best friend that had always talked about real estate and encouraged me to get licensed. And I kind of always pushed it along because I loved the marketing space. And then 2008 came and there were some shifts. And then my husband and I went to sell his house in 2013. And I thought, I actually kind of like this. You know, it's kind of a good blend of the marketing as well. So that was really what launched me into real estate, was actually being a home seller myself. And it was a good connection with Keller Williams because she had been a long time Keller Williams agent as well. So I have been with KW ever since the beginning. So I got licensed 2013 and kind of put it on hold for a little bit, did all the things on the back end, and then left my full-time job to go in completely. And I definitely was on the struggle bus for the first year. Some of it I kind of contribute to like wanting to make everything creative and beautiful and being a perfectionist. And it took me a while to get over that and be like, I need to go on appointments. Like, it doesn't matter if my listing presentation is perfect. I need to just get out there and do it. So my first year in real estate, I had one sale, and it was one of my really good friends. So then I kind of grew from there. But yep, that was kind of the initial toe in the water.
I love that. And we're going to dig right into one of the things you mentioned, this idea of perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
I know so many of us get into real estate because we have like a vision. We've been working for a boss, getting that W-2 income. Maybe we realize that security is not as secure as we thought, or maybe we just had aspirations to do something more, put our name on the sign, right? Build something, or the financial freedom and the time freedom to be flexible. So because of that, many of us struggle with the hurry up and wait, or the perfectionism, getting, I got to get my business card right, and then my business will look good. I got to figure out the name of my LLC, and then my business will really take off. How do you get out of that mindset? What is it like for you, or how do you coach agents on your team? A little from somebody there, not sure where that is, but how do you coach that people to get out of that mindset rut and just get into action?
Yeah. So some of it is, quite honestly, is your flyer that you're spending hours on really going to bring the income? No, so at the end of the day, for me, it was a financial, because I told myself that I was going to make it in real estate. And after 9 months of not having a closing, I really had to go back to that and reevaluate what I was spending my time on, and was it directly tied to income, my return on investment, my ROI? And the answer was no, down so many of the categories. So I had to redivert my energy and just say, nope, I'm going to focus on the door knocking. I'm going to have the lender do the flyer, even if it's not what I would want it to look like. So just kind of stopped trying to perfect or control everything, and started leveraging those resources, those partnerships, relationships I had, so that they could go and do that, and I could stay in the activity that was going to prompt the highest reward.
That's exactly it. Stay in that activity, right? The rest is going to fall into place, and the business is going to come. It doesn't have to be perfect. And so if you're a new agent on this call, if you're an agent who's watching this later, even me, I need to be reminded it doesn't have to be perfect, because at every stage of your business, you're going to be building something and being in action, and really that lead generation of that number one task of an agent, right? The minute we stop doing that, the minute our business down the road is going to slow down. Kaleo, man, how'd you get into this? Give me the professional speed dating version of becoming a realtor.
Got out the Navy in 2017. So I did 8 years active duty, all out here as a surface warfare officer. And then got out in 2017, did everything they tell you not to do, got married, had a baby, bought a house, bought a car, didn't have a job, right? And so I used the GI Bill to go get my master's degree. And then I was having a kid in August. So I got out in March, bought a house in April, got licensed in June, had a baby in August, and I kind of just did it on a whim. I was coaching at a local high school, varsity basketball, and coaching CrossFit in our Virginia Beach Town Center. And so I was training some kids one-on-one, and one of the parents was an agent. She was like, hey, Kay, you should get your license. And so wasn't doing anything else, so I decided to do it. I thought I could just do it while getting my master's, and I was like a stay-at-home dad for the first 2 months. And my wife went back to work, and so I was just like, oh, this is going to be easy. And it wasn't. So I quit the reserves, I quit getting my GI Bill, and I decided to just do real estate full time. I sold 3 houses in the first 6 months. And one was my mother-in-law and then 2 friends. Decided to go full-time in 18. And so that's when I did, 24 units in 2018 and then 45 in 19. And then 98 in 20 before I started talking to Megan about potential partnership.
Can't hear you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I was staying on mute so I don't make background noise. Want to talk into that military mindset. I grew up as a military kid. My dad was in the Army, took us all around the world. I know that each of us, Megan from marketing, Kaleo from the military, we bring in good habits to real estate and things that give us a leg up. We also bring in bad habits. I'm curious from the military. It's not a very entrepreneurial place. It can be very disciplined and very routine, right? And you might get good habits and good work ethic, maybe good physical fitness. Tell us a little bit about that mindset. What helps you coming from the Navy in real estate, and maybe what hurt you or what did you have to unlearn from that?
Yeah, I think it's probably something everybody experiences. So I don't think it's just from that, but military is, structure and organization, right? We wake up, we got to be on the ship by 6:30 and quarter. So we're usually up at 4 to get on there by 5. I mean, we're used to working, so we're not scared of hard work. We're working all day until night. We're used to staying on the ship every 3 days for duty. And so when I got out, I started showing up to the office at like 8:30. And to the civilian world is what we call them. They thought I was a superhero. They're like, man, you're here every day at 8:30. You're amazing. And so I was like, am I amazing or are people really lazy? Like I couldn't make a determination, right? But I know that the habits I got from just the discipline of showing up was something that was super beneficial in getting structured and organized and doing the things that needed to be done. The negative part is similar. As a part of the Navy, we execute the mission at all costs. And so it doesn't matter, you just execute the mission. And so my first year and a half, I was not single, I was just with my wife. And so was she my fiance at the time? Wife, but like, it was just us two. So like she worked all day. So all I did was work all day. I didn't have to be at home with kids. I got 3 under 5 now. So like at that point, it was just like all work. Like, and I was used to that kind of grind because I did an 11-month deployment and 9-month deployment. So to me, I was just putting that at work. But that second year in real estate, when I was on pace to close 45 units, that's when I realized that it was actually a negative. And so I closed the highest amount of deals I ever closed in 1 month as a solo agent. I closed 12 units. I made over 6 figures in GCI in that month. And it was also the month that I was everything I told myself I didn't want to be. And that was a terrible father. My son was sick. I was taking him on showings. I was frustrated. He was crying. And so that was really the light bulb that was like, yeah, I have a lot of ego. I think I'm good. I think people just want to work with me. Like only I can do these showings and serve these clients. At that point, I wasn't serving my family, but I was executing the mission. So I was having a conflicting inner dialogue. But when your son's in the back seat, and you're getting mad at him for being sick, I took a hard, long look at myself and I realized I was being a terrible person in that moment. And so that weekend I spent like $3,000. I hired 4 friend agents to show this 4th of July weekend. The rest of the homes was like 50 homes. But I decided that I needed a change. And so it wasn't going to be all on me anymore. So that's how that worked out. And this is one of my knuckleheads. This is the one that was sick and crying.
How far we've come. I love it. Kay is a family man. We're going to ask you more about the Kina kids and what's going on there. But I want to dig into this, keeping in mind Keller Williams Young Professionals is the mission is to develop the next generation of leaders, not just within Keller Williams, but within really the real estate industry. So many of us in the audience and who will watch this on Zoom we're in that young place in our career where we've probably had that. We've gone through the initial plateau and we've hit a nice level of success. And we're at another plateau with burnout, struggling with time, imbalance in our priorities of our life. And you can kind of be, when you build a successful company, we don't know when 5 buyers might text us all on the same day. So Kaleo hinted at that about this success through others and really letting down your ego. Megan, I'd love to rewind for you. Like, where were you when you and Kaleo started talking? Were you at a burnout point and you were looking for a partner? Were you doing great and this opportunity kind of came into your lap? Tell us where your mindset was at the time.
So I would say when he and I met, I wasn't at that burnout point, in my opinion. However, I had been exactly where Kaleo had been. Same thing. It was like 47 units that year. It was only me and a TC. And so same thing. But I knew in terms of that what Cheyenne and I had, we couldn't sustain. So the year that I did 136 units, I had a baby, my first baby, and I ended up going back to work very quickly, you know, because we had so much volume that it was too much for Cheyenne to do on her own. And I knew that she wanted to family plan as well. And so I just thought, hey, this isn't going to be, I know what it feels like. I don't want you to have that same experience. So let's go ahead and create a different world where we don't have to make those sacrifices. So it wasn't necessarily a pain point in that moment. However, I knew it would be, because if Cheyenne was going to have a baby, then it would be on me to run and do all the things with my family as well. So it was kind of more like a perfect timing for us to meet and kind of have that initial conversation for leverage and partnership and so forth.
It sounds like you had a taste of that burnout in the past.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see it coming again if you didn't make a change.
Exactly.
Sometimes we just have to learn from our own stubbornness and from our own ego, like you said. So what was that? Go ahead.
This thing, I think that's a hard thing to do. Typically, hard drivers and producers, right? We thrive off of accomplishment and achievement. And in this industry, you start to make what I would consider real money, like money you've never made before, or money your family backgrounds never had. And so it's kind of like the dopamine effect of social media. You get addicted to like the grind. Like you want to do it because it's bringing in a cash flow you've never had. And it's hard for you in that moment to really see like where that track is heading, right? And so a lot of people are like, burnout, now I can service this many people all the time, or I can do it. Like that won't happen to me because the money feels good in the moment. And so it's really a hard thing. You need to be around others to help expose you to it. But I honestly think that's a lesson you really don't learn from others. It's one you just have to learn on your own when you get to that point. And so the cool thing about Megan and I, just for the young professionals on here, that I had a question yesterday in my team meeting at the market center. They're like, how do I get in front of more people? 2 years before Megan and I decided to merge, I reached out to her just because she was the top producer in a separate market center. And I was like, hey, I just want to get to know you. Can you teach me a thing or two? I'd love to learn from somebody as be known since you. So like, you know, and so we had a meeting. I just learned from her for an hour. And when I left, she said, you know, nobody ever asked me, you know, to do this. Like nobody has really asked me to sit down, or I don't know if they scared to ask because I'm a top producer or whatever, but like that was pretty refreshing. Thank you for asking and thank you for your time. And then I asked again the following year when my business grew. I said, hey, I'd love another meeting. I'm at a different place in my business. And then that's when we started sparking the potential partnership. So it was like a 2.5 year thing. Like I didn't plan on just reaching out to her to do that. I was just getting to know her business. And then it grew into a partnership that these last 2.5 years have been awesome. So don't be afraid to reach out, to, you know, schedule a meeting. To people want to help. You just got to, don't be scared to ask.
So Megan, this Kaleo reaches out. You guys have a little mastermind. You share with them. You're inspired by him reaching out, right? There's something there. Was it a total linear path, or was there a time when you were like, maybe I'll interview my other options? Let me check out who else I might want to partner with. Did you almost break up in this dating process before you guys got married to each other in a business way?
No, so it's kind of what he had said. We met at my market center, kind of had a mastermind, and then kind of fast forward, COVID hits, and RTL at the time put together a little mastermind of people that were similar in mindset or volume, things of that nature. So then we had more time to kind of reconnect during that. And following that time, we started meeting in the office. Jordan Griggs kind of came along. So it'd be like a few of us, and he would throw out these little things like, hey, we should partner. And it was so casually done. But, you know, then it then kind of started to spark that of like, you actually need me in the ways that I have the resources for, and I need you in the way that you have the resources in terms of agents and things of that nature. So it was just more kind of time together that it morphed into what it is. But we did have very intentional conversations of business accountability, mindset, growth. And I think those were all hugely important, because I think a lot of times people want to build a team or join someone else, and they have inherent differences of what they want from the business or how they would operate the business. So us kind of dating on the back end for our business was monumental to make sure that things didn't make sense, because there's so many different aspects you can't plan for until you're in it, so it gave us that time to have those experiences and work together. And so it's been fun.
Something my coach says is that whenever you're thinking about partnering or really anything in business, 1 + 1 has to equal 3 or more. 1 + 1 = 2. We could do that ourselves. You can take your business. And so it really has to be that win-win. I love what you said, Megan. Kaleo helps you in ways that you need and vice versa. You guys are a match. You're not identical, because then you would have the same weaknesses and the same strengths. So we have a 6-foot something Pacific Islander man, and we've got a lower end of the 5-foot white woman, maybe an unlikely match on paper, but you guys have really got this beautiful complementary skill set. So I'd love to dig into the business and the team structure right now.
Today. Megan says that so casually, like I didn't intentionally for 6 months. Like we deep dove into the business. I had to recruit her agents. I had to talk to her admin. I mean, she said no, at least. Well, she never said no. She was just like, why? Why would I do that? So I really had to get a value proposition and show a vision and like create a process and show numbers. And then for a year, we kind of partnered, but we weren't. We just branded together. So I think for the new professionals or young professionals on the call, I just want to clarify, in my experience as a team leader, former team leader, and on this team, people have very different understandings of what partnership means, right? And so like when people say, I want to partner, like my first question is like, what does that exactly mean to you, right? And so some people just want to work with their friends, right? And they just want to brand together, not necessarily share money, right? Like we just want to team up and conquer the world and habits. That's one form of partnership. Another form of partnership is what I call the Manhattan model. Like you hire an admin, or you have agents that work for both of you, but you still technically don't touch each other's money. You just running a service system together and investing money together to grow that. And then true partnership is like you own an LLC together that operates the business, and you're both getting profit distributions and potential commission or salary based on the roles you play inside of that company. So to me, those are 3 very different types of partnerships. And so we got to get real clear when we say, oh, we want to partner with somebody, like, what does that really mean? And like, how are you going to break that down? Because I think most partnerships fail because there's no clarity or understanding on like, what is your version of partnership versus my version?
That makes total sense. And it sounds like there's a progression there too. You can co-brand before you do the LLC. You can get engaged before you get married. You don't have to jump straight into it, because once you jump there, it's really hard to unwind that. And you better have a board of directors, people around you who can speak into the truth. Just like any other major business decision, you want to bounce these ideas off people. And I love what you said. It took like a 2-year process to get to where you guys are now. So let's fast forward to where you guys are now. Tell us the kind of the quick hitting on like how many agents, how many admin, and I'd love to hear more of like where your business comes from. Like what does your lead gen activities look like?
You want me to take that one? Basically, I'm Megan's glorified executive assistant. So what Megan does for the team is, now I posted the lead sources inside of KWYP last night. Somebody asked for what everybody's lead sources. So I have the actual lead source from our CTE tracking form. But we have 8 agents. We have 3 lead agents, 2 partner agents. That's a kind of a system or process we have on our team. 1 team listing agent. Megan's in production, and then 1 guy that we're moving to the investment side. We launched an investment company. We have a transaction coordinator that does all TC, so in-house. We have a listing coordinator that's in-house. We have an executive assistant, and then we have a virtual assistant for database management. And so that's kind of, I think it's about 11 or 12 total. 4 admin. I consider myself on the ops side. And then Megan still does some production. She did 94 units 2 years ago. She did 60 last year. And so we're scaling her back. This year, she's committed to 20 deals or 200K in GCI. So once she hits that, she's not allowed to do any more deals, and it'll all go to the team. But we have a plan for her phasing out. And then we have a lead agent who is also our agent development director. And then we have an internal agent leadership council, our 3 top producers. And so that's kind of what our world looks like in a quick nutshell. Last year, we did 249 units for 83 million. This year we were down, but we did do 201 units for 64 million.
And just to kind of speak on some of the agent structure, I would say that's one thing that we have kind of come to find is a little unique for our team is that partner agent structure. And a lot of that honestly was kind of created with the leverage thought in mind, because we had myself, Cheyenne, that were in lead agent status, high production, 50 plus units. And some of it was like, hey, how can we keep them in our world? So for us, it became a leverage, a life work balance. If you have a partner agent, now you can share responsibilities for doing the showings, the home inspections, the things. For us, it gives us an opportunity to have that lead agent responsible for training that person for education, mentorship. So the partner agent gets to be a part of 50 plus deals, which as a brand new agent, that's pretty near impossible, by yourself. And then also too, has that training mechanism in place. So we kind of created that model just as a win-win for all parties involved. And I think honestly, that is a good way for people when they are scaling their business to kind of evaluate that model in terms of partnership opportunities. Because it gives them a little bit more balance to share the drive time, the showings, things of that nature. So.
And when you say that partner agent, that's referring to someone who does the showings before the lead agent comes in and writes the offer. Is that correct?
Yep. So the lead agent is the one doing the consultation, kind of the behind the scenes, the negotiations. They may draft the offer. The partner agent may do it, and the lead agent kind of has to oversight the final send off, et cetera, for preparation, having those offer review calls with the client. And then, the partner agent in the beginning is very much like the showings, home inspections, some runner duties, things of that nature.
And is there like a graduation metric that they need to hit before when they become, tell us like, how do they graduate, or just get in that mindset too? Why would a new agent become a showing assistant, a partner agent? You mentioned the exposure and the training too, but they could also go out and make more of a profit margin, 100% of their own deals, right? So tell us like, how long is that process? What is the graduation like to become a lead agent?
So as we've grown the program, there's kind of 2 different models, right? You can have 100% of a watermelon or of a 50% of a watermelon or 100% of a grape. At the end of the day, we know that new agents have a tendency to have a harder time to get in production, and especially in the shifting market. So our partner agent model allows you to get the experience of, if an average agent does 7 deals, we're not partnering with you with like a lead agent doesn't get the opportunity to have a partner agent until they're in production, right? And so 40 to 50 units. So now you're going to get 6 years of experience in 1 year. You're partnered with the top agent in the industry. Like I'm proud to say 4 of our 5 agents last year all did 37 units or more. And so we're like, they're in production. So you're going to learn and partner with the best. You're going to have a lower ceiling, but a higher floor. So we can guarantee you 40 to 70K of income in year 1. It's a year commitment, but then after that year, you can become an agent on the team. And then at that point, we expect you to get into production as big or as little as you want. 30 units is kind of like their goal. But if you want to shoot for 50, then you get the opportunity to get into leverage. So we kind of call it CoVA College, right? Your first year, we want you to get educated, smart, become the best agent you can be. Your sophomore and junior year, we want you to get into production, right? We want you to start understanding what it's like to be an agent in production. And then by the time you're a senior or graduate, you get the opportunity for leverage. And that now, for an example, this is a real example. Megan talked about her pregnancy experience and how tough it was for her. I'm not saying Cheyenne didn't have a tough experience, but Cheyenne did 94 units in 2021, had a baby, and was in the office 1 time in that entire year. 94 with a partner agent. So like we had a proof of concept that then was like, oh, well, if she can do it. Taylor became a lead agent, did 38 deals this year with a partner agent. I got another partner agent for Cheyenne And so for brand new agents, you can't just join our team. If you're a brand new agent, you can only enter our team through a partner agent model. And so most of our agents are homegrown. This is the first year we've opened up the door to producing agents. And so we have one agent, we're trying to get one more, and we're going to see, we got to get a proof of concept. Can we adopt somebody else from somewhere else and then get them into production too? We know we can grow them into production, but these people come from a different place. And so can we grow them that way? And so Cheyenne is our team listing agent. We made her the agent development director. So we pay her extra per month to provide training education to give that partner agent experience to the agents that are coming to the team.
And I'll highlight that too. So in terms of Cheyenne, one of her value adds, like one of her core items is coaching. She receives so much from that. So again, like kind of creating this world big enough for us all to be under it. We've kind of made little shifts. The coaching thing again is a fulfilling item for Cheyenne, but then also a benefit for us because now we have this structure for agent retention, agent experience, et cetera. And so it's kind of this win-win. So I think if people are scaling their business, I think some of the conversation is always tied back to like, what does the team give me? How many leads should I expect? Things of that nature. And we try to get away from that conversation, like what are the other value adds that CoVA has, and put focus there.
Love it. There are so many things we could go into here. You guys are clearly structured around this. I would love to hear maybe Megan from you. What were your lead gen sources when you were an individual agent in a small team and then merging with Kaleo? What does the lead gen look like now? How do you guys coach your agents to do it?
So in all honesty, most of mine was online or repeat business because I had been in for a longer time. So I had people, especially military, that moved every 2-3 years. So I had a lot of returning business from that. We had we call it CoVA champions. We still do, but just basically sending love to our clients, our top SOI, et cetera. So that, and then for online. So again, being the marketer, I was like, I need to have the Google presence. And that was probably one of the best things I ever did was creating a Google, my page. And so a lot of times I was pushing people for submitting reviews on there while Google likes Google, so my information continued to come up when people would search top realtors in Chesapeake or wherever it was. Yelp used to be a really big one for me. Their algorithms change all the time and they ended up taking down a majority of my reviews. But at one point in time, like that was a really good business without me putting any ad spend to it. I had, I think, like 70 reviews. So naturally people were searching things like that. So online was definitely one of my bigger ones without having to spend anything. And then also, like I said, the CoVA champions, the Perk Your Sphere by Liz Johnson. I kind of took that concept and then narrowed it down. She has different tiers. To me, as kind of that solo agent with one admin was way too much. So I was like, how can I do one incentive or one reward for one group? So, but again, being intentional with following up with people for sure.
Kaleo, where was your business coming from before you guys merged, and where's the team business coming from now?
Mine was all SOI, and so I was heavy referral.
Sphere of influence for anyone who's not familiar. Sphere of influence,
people I knew. I ran an actual 36 touch campaign, so I had lenders partner that sent out my mailers and emails, and so I grew it to about I probably shit about 60 SOI deals a year. Like even today, like I don't do it, I give them to the team, but I generated probably that much, whether it's agent referrals or still past clients, repeats, whatever, but I'm a heavy SOI guy. So today I'm trying to see if I can implement that plan through others. And so we have a 1/3 model. So 1/3 of an agent's goal, like if their goal is 30 units, right? We expect 10 to come hot leads from the team, meaning pretty much pre-approved, just go find the house. 1/3 from agent activities, meaning we have specific schedule for prospecting and database management. We have events, we do all of that. So we expect to generate another 1/3. And then we have a 36 touch campaign. We expect the agent to generate 1/3 out of their sphere. So that's kind of our model, or what we aim for. Right now, I'm still probably the heaviest in SOI, but we have had, like, Cheyenne has done more SOI since I've joined than she did previously with Megan, probably because she has more leverage. Before, she was just servicing all the business. And so we're trying to monitor how can we grow an agent's SOI business to not only grow ours, but to grow theirs as well.
Something I'm hearing you guys talk a lot about is tracking your numbers, because you guys clearly know your numbers. What do your systems look like? Maybe some growing pains. What have you tried that didn't work, or what's just really working? Just however you guys want to answer. Tell us about your systems and tracking.
Yeah, so CTE was one of the programs that I had from my market center, and we pulled that one along. But honestly, that is a really robust system. It can go down into lead gen and call times and business planning. So you can go in there and say what your goal is, your average price point, average commission. And I love it because it takes seasonality into account as well. So it'll go through and say, hey, if you want to do 45 units, the first half should be 20%. The, Q2, Q3 should be 30%, et cetera. So it kind of tracks your progress. And even month by month shows you what you're under, what you're over. So I love that one. It also has, we do daily lead gen forms. So the agents get a calendar alert every evening to make sure they put in their lead gen efforts, like their database ads, appointments set, appointments held, contract signed, et cetera. And that all feeds into CTE as well. So that's one of our biggest programs that we use on a day-to-day basis. We've done others in terms of like Monday.com. We use Slack for kind of communication, sending leads through. If it doesn't like have an automatic feed, we'll put it in there to a specific agent. Just again, to kind of track like who's getting leads and so forth. But those would be my top two. What you got, Kay?
I mean, that's pretty much our system, right? Slack for communication, and then our calendar, Gmail, we use the G Suite. So G Drive in the Google Calendar, and then CTEs for all lead tracking and sourcing. And then we use the CRM for database management. But we just have, every day we have a morning huddle at 8:30 with our TC on live. So everybody gets the, what we call deal review, anything that's active, any issues, we read a book together, and then that's it. From 9 to 10 is outbound prospecting only, true lead generation. 10 to 11 is database management. Then after that, they can flow into their workday. We're kind of a master your morning. Like, we like being together in the morning, but then they're good to go for the rest of the day, whatever they got to do. By 12:30, they're expected to enter their lead gen, and I have a virtual assistant who pulls it, and he lets me know who's inputted or not, and I'll just give them a reminder to get it in. But CTE is the tracking and sourcing. So we try to do a good job of encouraging them to do it. It's not for us. The tracking and sourcing is so that an agent can evaluate whether their activities are creating the results they desire, or do we need to change things? So we're a big tracking, sourcing, and then we have weekly leadership meetings with our internal ALC, and then we do monthly one-on-ones, and I do all of the one-on-ones.
And also too, for CTE, he touched on sources. Again, that's wonderful too, to track both sides. So track where it's coming from. So for instance, like when I saw Yelp starting to go down, it was like, hey, what's going on here? So I know like where we need to shift or to double down on efforts here, et cetera, but also like who your vendor partners are. So that really gave us an ability to go back to our lenders, our title company, our home inspectors, whoever, because we could go through and say, hey guys, we did $13 million worth of volume with you. How can we leverage that relationship? So I think it's good from a sourcing of where
AKA reach into your pocket and tell me how much I'm worth.
Yeah. Show me the money. Show me the money. Cuba Gooding Jr.
Otherwise, I'm talking to your friends.
But it was good because most of them don't track that. You know, they have a feeling of what it is, whereas we can go in and say, no, look, we gave closed volume of this amount. So that's been able to allow us to have leverage partners for home warranty, insurance, title, and mortgage. So those are big, income drivers for us as well.
You guys know the bold law. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act.
Mhm.
A lender, an attorney might feel really lovey-dovey from, oh, Kaleo and Megan are great. They're awesome. And then when you give them that fact will change their feelings. Oh, you 13 million in business to you, or the attorney, let's say it's 50 transactions at 1,000 per closing. There's $50,000 in revenue that you sent to someone else's business for free.
Right.
That's life-changing money for someone's business. And so that's fantastic. And Kaleo, I love when you talked about the morning routine, 8:30 to 9. I'm amazed that you guys can cram in everyone's deal flow for that many agents and a book club into 30 minutes a morning. But I guess if you're doing
no, it's only 15 minutes. And
15 minutes.
It started in the beginning, it was all your deals. Now, I mean, we trust our TC. The TC has one-on-ones with each agent throughout the week. So we know that it's being tracked. It's for any fires or any updates. So they'll be like, hey, closing got pushed, or Alyssa's our TC. Can you check in? The moisture termite got moved. Can you let the clients know? So it's only for fires, but it only
these are bullet points. You're not digging in. Hey, let's all solve Kaleo's closing problem right now for 20 minutes. I gotcha. That makes sense. More just keeping everyone on the same page. Let's go back earlier in the day. Kaleo, you mentioned win the morning. Megan, you got a family. You're busy. What is your morning routine? Do you have one? Is that a weakness? Is that a strength of yours? Do you have a nighttime routine? How do you manage your day?
Yeah, good question. So let me go back, because I have put health as a priority kind of the end of last year. So for the last 6 months, I have been very intentional about getting up, having a workout, come back, I do my audible, hop on the calls. And then generally speaking, I'm in the office. Like mornings, I'm in the office, kind of doing more of like administrative stuff, and then afternoon appointments. So for the most part, those chunks of time are pretty standard. One item that Kaleo and I have started to do is doing financial Fridays. So for us, in terms of leadership, but honestly, like, I think it's appropriate for agents too. When you're so busy during that 9 to 5 time, you don't have the time to organize your bank accounts, to talk to the people that work a 9 to 5. And so we kept feeling as though our business items or even personal things, we weren't having time to accomplish. Like really monitoring our net worth tracker, looking at our budgets, things of that nature. So we've started doing a financial Friday, first block of the morning, to go through and reach out to our CPA, to our financial advisor, set up those calls, conversations, so that we're moving our things forward as well. So.
And you're doing that, you're reaching out to CoVA's CPA, or Megan and Kaleo are reaching out to their own CPAs?
Most of it's personal, but
okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's both.
So scheduling in personal time. You want to achieve this goal. You guys formed a business together. You want to succeed, net worth, leverage, financial freedom. And so you're actually time blocking for that. That's amazing. I love that.
And it's for the agents too. So each agent is at different levels of production, or like, should I start an LLC? Cool. Should I be elect to be taxed as an S corp? Should I put myself on payroll? Like, so all of these things, the agents have a window of that financial Friday to schedule with me, where I'll go and review their individual. I provided them net worth tracker. We use Mint. I tell them how to set up Everlant so they can track their expenses for miles and whatever. But it forces us to focus on ours. What we found is, as you start getting productive, you go home and there's a mailbox full of bills and things you need to pay. And then we all bitch and complain about taxes because we never organized it throughout the year. And so doing it every Friday allows us to manage it bite by bite. And so, like, it's funny, like, is it personal? Yeah. I mean, I come in with a stack of envelopes and I just pay my wife's late tickets or late bills and speeding tickets, because otherwise I'm going to be doing it on home time. And so a portion of that is just paying shit I should have paid already. And then I get into my net worth tracker and then coaching the agent. So it's been super helpful.
Will you pay my late parking tickets for me? Can I send them to you? And
every Friday, I probably will. I just be paying anything. I just get it off my I'm a thing.
I love it. Quick reminder, we're going to try to wrap this at noon Eastern. We got about another 12, 13 minutes. Put your questions in the chat. I want to make sure we get to Jasmine's question. She said she'd love to hear more about the perk your sphere concept. Can you give us a minute or two on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's actually a book by Liz Johnson, and it's a really quick read. I mean, you could do it in an afternoon, but the concept essentially was to refer people that you believe will refer you business. So it's kind of that intentional reminder to have certain giveaways, touch plans centered around your SOI, past clients, things of that nature. I know in the beginning when I had implemented it, I really didn't have a lot of people that had actively referred me business. So to kind of create these tier levels and so forth, they speak on in the book. To me, that was very overwhelming. So I just went back to, hey, my top friends, family that I know would, and then my past clients, they were all automatically put into this CoVA Champions program. And essentially created a system where, hey guys, like if you refer us, any friends, family, the postman, we don't care, we'll send you a little referral gift as a thank you. Now I know in terms of RESPA, it can't be tied to a closing. So we tied it to a consultation. After we have the consultation, that's when they would then get the gift. And again, we kind of went down this rabbit hole of complexity, and I would warn people not to do that, especially if you're your own admin, or if you have one, and kind of depending on production, it can be a little overwhelming. So I would keep it very simple. A new program that I actually have just demoed, it's called Thanks, THNKS. And I actually really loved that because they have the whole system for you. It has like email templates. You can brand it with your logo. They do have like a set initial contribution, but then that goes to your gifts that you can go in and select. And it's just like a 10% fee on whatever item you purchase. So for instance, if you go in and we say thanks a latte, and they get a Starbucks gift card, it just adds a 10% to whatever that Starbucks charge is. So to me, depending on things, I wish I had known about that 9 years ago, because you could go on, log in, it does all the follow-up reminders, has the whole template email system. So that's something we're going to launch this year, just to kind of take some of the admin focus away from loving on our clients for referrals.
Yeah, that's amazing. I put that in the chat along with Perk Your Sphere by Liz Johnson. I also dropped the book title Raving Fans, which sounds pretty similar. How to create that really just like absolutely loyal fan base, kind of the Disney effect. If someone goes to Disney, we got Jesse Coleman on the call. Jesse, I know you love Disney. They create these experiences, right? And our businesses can do the same thing. You don't have to have the same budget of Disney, but we can create these things. People remember how you made them feel, right? They don't necessarily remember the $10 Starbucks gift card, but they remember that they got something and then it meant something to them. So that's an amazing tip. You guys mentioned you do book clubs. Give me like rapid fire, 2 or 3 books you've read recently with your team.
I'm terrible at book titles. That's okay.
Well, last night I asked Kaleo, we did a teaser interview last night, and Kaleo dropped a few book titles. I asked him what he recommends outside of the typical KW ones, because you should read those if you haven't already. Millionaire Real Estate Agent, The One Thing, and Shift. What other books have you guys read as a team, Kaleo? Have you done The Dream Manager? I know that's one of your favorites.
The Dream Manager is one of my favorites.
40X, we love.
4 Disciplines of Execution was a big one that we absolutely loved, with real life examples. 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership is a good one to read as a team for mindset. And
Fanatical Prospecting was another popular one.
Fanatical Prospecting is great for like, if you have a team or a group of people or yourself, and you just need to do it, that like have the limiting belief on like trying to get into prospecting or outbound prospecting. That one hit right on time for the team. We've read The Energy Bus. I love that one, for a small group. That could be a YP like chapter read. But yeah, we pick stuff up. We read we're always reading a book.
Yeah, I was going to my Audible, like what ones were my faves?
I love that. I'm going to check the chat here. Any other questions? I want to give a blank space here for about 20 seconds. If anyone wants to come off mute and express a question or express some gratitude for these two.
Well, I know from personal experience that I've used, I reached out to Kaleo and he got me in contact with Megan for a seller referral up there. And nice to actually meet you, Megan.
I know, I was like, who's talking?
Yeah. And they took care of them. Like, it was a phenomenal experience for them, even with some hiccups on something out of their control completely. It was an overall phenomenal experience. So I would say if you have any of your Virginia Beach or Virginia area referrals, definitely reach out to them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Give
Fantastic.
her an
Thanks,
extra
Megan.
gift this year, Megan. Extra gift for her.
Yeah.
And Megan, tell us who you are and where you're from. Come on now.
So I'm Megan Puglisi. I'm from Keller Williams, Brevard, and I service the Space Coast of Florida, which is Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Rockledge.
All the spaceships down there in Florida. If they're launching, if you see some big explosion happening down there, that's Megan's territory. Send her your referrals down there. Anyone else want to come on? And I see we got a few more people coming in. First of all, thank you guys for listening. I know it helps Kaleo and Megan feel the energy when people are here and showing their face. Does anyone else have questions? I got a few more myself. So by all means, I'll take the microphone back. Just interrupt me if anyone wants to get in on this.
I got 2 minutes and then I have
Yep.
to host one for the Be Wealthy Mastermind group. And so you'll
Yes.
get some special time with Megan.
Perfect.
So if you got any last questions
Awesome.
for me, otherwise I'm going to.
Yeah, thanks, Kaleo. I appreciate you reminding me of that. Anyone else for Kaleo? Kaleo, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you mean a lot to me as a brother. Oh, and also too, a special announcement. You and I are going to be on stage together at Family Reunion, speaking on a breakout panel. So if anyone, remind me the title, Kaleo. Unpredictable, is it career opportunities
Through unpredictable time.
in unpredictable times. Yeah. If anyone wants to come find us, I don't know the ballroom yet or the time, but we would come listen to Kaleo and I'll be there also.
Yeah.
So Kaleo, we'll let you go, man. Thank you so much. We'll hang with Megan for another minute in case anyone has questions for her.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother. Megan, last question I want to get into from my end is we've talked a lot about the great and the successes and the systems and the routines. Can you give us one or two growing pains or like a notable, maybe a mistake that you've learned from? It could be on the team or on your individual side.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's funny, Kaleo's not on here. Even dress code and
Oh, wow.
foul language, being military. I'm like, what are you doing wearing tennis shoes in here? So we always kind of tease each other for that. But growth pains, I think Kay really hit it on the head earlier, was like shifting your mindset in terms of leverage. A lot of times people see it as an expense and really it's not. It allows you so much more leverage of time and mental space, to go and do better, create better, kind of not having it like, oh man, I got to pay this showing agent. And it's like, wow, I get to pay this showing agent so that I can have dinner with my family tonight. So that took me a long time. Kay was great to kind of get that understanding kind of right from the beginning. So I wish I had learned that lesson earlier on for sure. Because it's hard when you're commissioned, that one call during dinner, if you don't take it, that could be directly tied to your mortgage that month, and that's kind of a hard cycle mentality to be in. So once you kind of start having that shift and allowing yourself to leverage off items, it's so freeing.
Do you have any leverage in your personal life? Laundry, childcare, yard cleaning, anything like that?
Yes. The cleaner, that was another thing, because my mom, she always cleaned. So for the longest time, I was afraid to even tell her I had a cleaner. And for me, I'm a workhorse, I find fulfillment in working and being busy. So some of that, again, kind of bogs me down because I want to do all the things. But now I'm like, nope, it helps them. It helps their family, keeps them in business by me being able to provide them income for cleaning my house. And, so I kind of, I turn it and think, wow, I'm able to help more people by leveraging off things that really, I don't need to do. It's not my highest and best use of the time. It's not moving my family forward by me cutting the lawn on Saturday. Now, if I enjoyed it, sure. But, again, really trying to find those leverage points.
Yeah. One of my favorite KW speakers, Kent Temple out of Charlotte, was teaching a class one time and talked about how his lawnmower moment where he was out mowing the yard and he missed $1 million listing. And by the time he got back and returned the call, it was already gone. And he said he was never going to mow another lawn again. Now, if that's like you said, if that's part of your self-care, do it. Don't take that away from you. We all need these mental health releases. We need an identity outside of being a realtor, because you mentioned any entrepreneurship, especially a real estate industry where we're kind of on call, if you're an
Yeah.
individual agent. It will suck every second that you give it mercilessly, and it won't always reward you for that. Sometimes they will then go and write an offer with someone else.
Right.
And then you have the reverse moment where you say, okay, well, I'm never going to answer the phone during dinner again because I've done it and it didn't even pay off.
Right.
And so last question for you. There's someone on this call right now, I know, or someone watching this on YouTube later who is struggling. They're thinking about getting out of the business or hanging it up. What advice do you have for someone who's just hitting their head against the wall of this burnout in real estate? How can you encourage them or point them in the right direction?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I would go through and kind of honestly make a list of what it is that you love about real estate, like kind of connect back to the why of what you wanted to accomplish in real estate and bring some more focus to that, because I think that the burnout happens when you're trying to do all the things. Like you're having to be the financial person to do the P&Ls and the budgets and the marketer for the social media and do the showings and the clients, and like all of those can be overwhelming. So like really go back and say, hey, I love this, I don't love this. And what can you, again, leverage out to then simplify your life so that if you're in production, so you can focus on those top 5 things, like lead gen being the priority there.
I love it. And the first thing you said was get back to why. If you haven't, and if you struggle with knowing why you're doing something, Simon Sinek is a great author who has a lot of resources, free YouTube videos, books on Start With Why. It may be a helpful resource to you. I was someone who struggled with knowing my why when I got into the business. We quit our jobs and got into real estate, and I had a baby on the way. So my why was survive and sell some damn houses. Yeah. And then I hit this kind of comfort level. Like you mentioned, you and Kaleo mentioned, we all come in with prior thermostats on our financial situation. And if you don't have something to then break you through the next plateau, you'll stall, you'll burn out, any number of things. So getting back to why you're doing it is fantastic. Yeah. I want to encourage anyone here, if you have a client who's relocating to or from the Virginia Beach area, Hampton Roads, Norfolk, even if you think it's remotely close, reach out to Megan and Kaleo. What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you guys? Megan, do you have a team email address or DMs, text? What's a good way to reach you guys?
Yeah, DM or text. We do have info at CoVACollectiveRealty.com, COVA for Coastal Virginia.
I'm going to put it in the chat right now, CoVACollectiveRealty.com. Great. And I just put there again, a reminder, if you're a YP member and you haven't yet voted for our annual YP awards, please go vote for Kaleo or whoever else you see on the list and whatever chapters are meaningful to you and that you want to see win. And if you haven't already registered for Family Reunion, please do that. Just Google KW Family Reunion, you'll find it. Or the KWYP specific launch that's coming up in Hampton Roads, February 2nd through the 4th. They've got some amazing speakers, fun social events. If you've never gone to a YP event outside of Family Reunion or Mega Camp, I highly encourage you to go. You will find something that'll make it worth your trip and your time. So with that said, we're going to hop off. I want to thank everyone who's been on the call. Megan and Kaleo, please thank Kaleo again for your time. This recording will be on YouTube shortly. I encourage you, Megan, to send it to anyone. We hope this promotes your business. And thank you again for really encouraging us and just sharing your story with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a great day, everyone.